Alright guys, it has been a very big minute since our last video in Destiny. We haven't done an event video in a very long time either, if ever, I don't think, for this channel. Can't remember the last time I made a video for the channel that was covering Festival of the Lost. But hey, you know what? We have our Halloween skin on for for the holidays right now. We're gonna jump in and try to get some good rolls of that shotgun. I think it gets something crazy like Desperado and like 4th time's the charm. We're talking, I mean, there's a lot of things that happened since our last video till now as well. They announced Destiny Rising, and there's this whole conversation with the Weightgate for certain perks right now, which people are, like, skeptical if it was real initially until Bungie announced that it was 100% real, that they're actually having to deploy some sort of fix for their code. We'll talk about all of that near the end of the video. I'll give you my thoughts on both those things at the very end, so... With all that being said, let's jump back in and let's go to the tower and talk to the grandma who, for whatever reason, hasn't died yet and is still running the events for us right now. I think they're still doing the Haunted Forest for the whole Festival of the Lost thing right now. It's kind of nuts, actually. I didn't really think that they'd be doing Festival of the Lost. I was always under the impression that if Festival of the Lost was gonna ever return, we would get like the haunted Infinite Forest or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just something where the Infinite Forest was a thing, and we still are doing the haunted Lost sectors. I kind of miss how spooky the Infinite Forest was. Man, I kind of wish they would just give us something new too. Good God, I'm so sick and tired of doing Haunted Lost Sectors, but here we are once again doing more Haunted Lost Sectors. Alright.
Let's take a look.
Ava's expression warms as you see here. Happy Festival of the Lost Deer. I am so grateful that you are here celebrating. I know this can be a bittersweet time for many of us, and it is important that we acknowledge our grief as well as our joy. I hope you will allow yourself as much time as you need to embrace the feelings you hold in your heart this year. She motions towards the pedestal beside her, and this is where you'll find yourself in the mood for a little mystery of magic. I have no doubt you'll discover something ghoulish in the latest volume of the Book of the Forgotten. I need a mask, yes. Give me that thing. Event rewards, Hunter class. Needs 1 Eerie Ingame and 2,500 pieces of candy. I have to wear a mask. It would be nice if it came fully masterworked, but it is not fully masterworked. Which face should we put on this bad boy? Who's this? Oh, Clovis Spray. Let's go with the bubbling mask. Well, actually, yeah, sure. That looks fine. I wish she would have given us a fully masterwork piece of mask, because now we're gonna have to wear this the whole time. Ava studies the tome beside her. Even now, the Book of the Forgotten is simultaneously amazing and unnerving. I still don't understand how it conjures up these stories. She shakes her head in disbelief. It's clearly much better at telling stories than me. I believe this book thrives best when you collect manifested pages and add them to the book, if you dare. Abandoned quests, celebrating Solstice. Oh, she was offering Solstice quests that I abandoned. I didn't even play Solstice of Heroes this past year. Ooh, Clairvoyant Shell goes crypt by pair. Oh, it's like a crystal ball or whatever. That's kind of cool. What kind of shaders is Lustrous Allure? It's not too bad. Phosphoric Phantom. Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. And then we have Ghostly Messenger. Oh, it's like a Ouija board. Does it do something at the very end? Oh, not really. Oh, these are all secret triumphs. I can't see what you get for this. Let's collect everything we can get our hands on. Festival rewards. Acquired by defeating combatants throughout the system while you're wearing a Festival of the Lost mask. Oh, you have to be wearing it the whole time? Oh god. I mean, that's fine. Kind of limits our... I kind of wish... I mean, I know the masks are cool and everything, but I kind of wish that they at least allowed us to... Like, no helmet exotics while wearing the mask. So if we need to wear an exotic piece of gear... Let's put on... Yeah, just our relativism. Just for right now. Okay, and I think that's it, right? We have the mask on, and then what did she give us for the quest? You need to... Additional manifested pages restore for chapters forgotten book. Enter a haunted sector and defeat combatants with to acquire festival pages, gaining festival rewards. Okay, so it's basically just do lost sectors and come back here when we're done. Start mission. We can get candy right now if we just explore the tower. I know that for a fact because they always hide candy in the same places every year. So it's always like in the trees. Oh god.
This is home.
There's one big piece of candy up here. 250. And I think this is true for all the different, trees in the place or inside the tower. I wish they kind of just hid candy in random places, and as just you explore the tower, you just found candy. I'm assuming when Zur comes back, we'll be able to buy candy from him. Candy. Candy. Candy and candy. Look at that. We already got a bunch of candy to start. There might be one other place, if I remember correctly, that maybe candy shows up.
Incident in Hangar Base 6.
Maybe down here. You guys are just having your drug deal. Would be kind of nice if they updated some of like the interactions with some of the places throughout here. Maybe you just see people like running around. Maybe you see some of the fallen being chased by like a dog or something wearing a costume. Or if like the cityscape, like the skyline here, would also change to kind of reflect Festival of the Lost, Festival of the Lost colors. But it doesn't really change all that much. Alright, so they want us to go into the Haunted Forest just right away. Sure, let's do this. Haunted Forest time. These events don't change much year to year, although this one is actually one of the better events this year because not only do we get, I think they call it like a heavy burst shotgun. The shotgun has really cool perk rolls you can get for it too. What's it called? You can actually buy and focus, and you'll get a guaranteed roll on exotic class items too, finally. And that is the biggest selling point, to just continuously farm for exotic class items and get something worthwhile. And this thing looks pretty cool, actually. Fires a hard-hitting 2-burst, slightly reduces flinch from incoming fire while aiming. So, like, yeah, it's a heavy burst shotgun. It fires 2 shots at the same time. Magazine is 12, but it basically holds, it's 6 shots, more or less. Very cool. I don't know if this counts as prosperity or for prosperity, but we'll put it on anyways. I'll probably have to waste a golf ball in order to masterwork this mask.
Be careful, Guardian. There's a strong fallen presence in this sector. There's also reports of Guardians disappearing in the area, as well as stories of terrible headless monsters lurking in the shadows.
I don't think I need to collect every piece of candy that shows up in the center in this mission. I'm pretty sure the candy will be just sent back to the postmaster.
We're stalking malignant entities of unknown origin called the Headless Ones.
Oh, they're chasing the pumpkins again.
Yeah, they've got really good loot.
All right, you two have fun.
Let's investigate those mysterious ritual circles. It's another poorly named Headless One.
right now, the lore behind the Headless Ones, I think, is that they're just, like, weird entities that are real spooky for some reason. I think some of the lore, like, people used to think that they weren't real until, I think it was what Glenn proved, that they were real entities and real things to fight. So, that was kind of funny that that was the thing, but now that the Witness is dead and gone, I wonder if these guys will get tied into the anomaly, the thing from Vesper's Host. Because that thing is, like, also an unknown anomaly or entity that's currently in the system right now. I'm pretty sure the candy will get sent back to the tower. I don't think I have to collect every single piece of candy on the floor here. That'll be insane. They're getting tougher and tougher as time goes on during this mission. Aha! I do like the idea of the Headless Ones because they look really cool for knights. It would be fun if, maybe they're, I don't even know what they could be. I was gonna say, it could be cool if they were like some sort of combination of like Scorn and Hive. Because we have gotten Scorn and Cabal in Valve Disciple Raid. But we haven't gotten like Scorn and Hive. That just reminds me, too, that Fickrell's Scorn in this season, because at the end of, what's it called, going into the Witch Queen, the Scorn in that game were starting to weirdly develop their own culture and their own, their own religion and stuff like that, right? Don't you remember that? And I wonder if Fickrell's Scorn are different than that, are different than those ones that were, like, slowly developing their own kind of culture. Because I do remember that the Scorn had, like, different colors. They were, like, more purple now than anything else. They were getting smarter and smarter. And I wonder if Fickrell's Scorn are, like, the evolution of that, or if it's something else.
Agreed. Too few arms, not enough eyes.
And yet here they are. Perhaps their proximity to the Exodus Black is relevant. It would support a theory of a human origin, and the ancient ritual of the Hall Between.
Hall Between? No, it's Halloween. But, okay, sure. And that's it, right? That's just Festival of the Lost. Did we get what we needed? Haunted sector completed. You need additional manifests. Enter a haunted sector and defeat it. There we go. I was gonna say, now it's over. Return to Ava to the tower. I mean, it's just one little quest. It's just like an introduction, just so you have an idea as to what the whole seasonal loop is going to be about. You're going to go into the haunted sectors. You're going to get manifested pages. You're going to turn in those manifested pages for more loot. And as time goes on, as you get more and more candy, you're going to have the ability to either purchase weapons and bounties and stuff like that, or just earn them through gameplay. I think the longer you stay in the playlist, the better and better loot you'll eventually get, up until a certain point at least. So we almost got 1,000 just from one run of it, but we did get about 500-ish or so just from the tower, so most of that might be from the tower, honestly. So I wonder if the candy went back to the tower now that we're going back, because if it does go back, I think all the candy goes back. Like, you get all the candy the second we went to orbit. I think I did see a little pop-up that showed that. That way you're not scrambling around the entire map like some sort of crack addict trying to get all those pieces of candy before the mission ends. Let's see if it's in our lost items.
Checking now.
Yeah, it just went back here.
Transfer.
Okay, so we don't have to collect everything as we play. Just play, and then if you miss anything, it'll go back to the tower.
I have ideas already.
It looks as you as you stride into the courtyard. You've got some manifest pages. Thank goodness. I get the strangest feeling the Book of the Forgotten is hungry. She regards at the book with concern. I could swear I heard it grumbling. It'd be kind of cool if, like, these holiday events turned into something worse. Like, it was, like, it ended up being, like, the Book of the Forgotten turned into something like the Necronomicon. There's chapter 2, there's chapter 1. Alright, I have the pages.
Let's get started.
Thank you for feeding the Book of the Forgotten. If you keep adding it, giving it manifest pages, I'm sure it will reveal some fascinating tales. Take a peek at your event card, and don't forget that the masks and goodie bags I prepared for all the Guardians. Nothing like a creepy sweet to get us all in the festival spirit. Claim your first one, cryptozoologist. Nice. And then here's all the cool stuff we can get out of this. Sugar-coated, raid banners. Purchase some mystery bags from Eva. You can get Jurassic Green, weird grenade launcher I haven't seen before, the shotgun, runner mask. I'm not even sure which one that one's from. I think the one we're going to try now... Well, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the event. That's all you really got to do. Oh, thank you for helping the tower get into the Festival Spirit Guardian. Here's a little something for your trouble. She hands you a package with her eyes twinkling with like, keep filling the Book of the Forgotten with those manifest pages and don't forget to pay me a visit from time to time. Is it a guaranteed roll, or is it like a... Oh, yeah, it's going to be a fixed roll. Might just take this just so the bounties come back here. Okay. This weapon can be enhanced. Channel an aura of control over the energies of the universe. Arcane Embrace.
I could use some coffee.
Alright, I mean, that's Festival of the Lost, more or less. Now it's just like, alright, go and do all the things you should be doing now for your Triumph card and stuff like that. I kind of wish they would have done up the tower a little bit more, because I think this is the first Festival of the Lost since the upgrade that this tower received. Like over here, adding this added little area over here, and I thought they were gonna just do more with it. It looks like there could be more decorations, if I'm being perfectly honest. This place definitely needs more. And it'd be nice to see like the Cabal or even the Elixni running around having fun with each other. Just something just to switch up the monotony of Festival of the Lost. Because now it's just like, do your Lost sectors, do your Haunted Lost sectors. I think we got a, what is it? KD5530 mask. Oh wow, this one doesn't even like, I get the hood back with this, weirdly enough. Interesting. This one gives me back the hood for some reason. All these masks looks awful. Fractured Traveler mask. Sure. Again, I mean, we basically got to wear the mask the entire time to get candy, and now we're just cut loose to just do anything we want for the Festival of the Lost. Again, I kind of wish these holiday events could, like, sort of tie into, like, the season or something. Like, maybe Festival of the Lost is supposed to be something real mundane, just something that we're supposed to just do for fun, and then it turns into, like, oh, actually, the book that we've been feeding all these pages to, it's actually, like, a hive artifact, and it's, like, extremely dangerous. So you kind of made a mistake giving us all these pages over the years. I'm like, oh, God, wouldn't that be something? I mean, that's the festival event, quote-unquote. That's all that is, folks. And I probably, at this point during the playthrough, we're probably just going to show some B-roll on the screen of me going through another, you know, lost sector or whatever. But I think now is a good time to talk about our thoughts on the whole Weightgate and Destiny Rising thing. We'll talk about the Weightgate first, because that's the one that matters the least between the two, in my opinion. So, if you don't know, a lot of Destiny YouTubers and other, like, Destiny mathematicians recently found out that there are certain weird perk weighting combinations that are more likely to not drop for certain players, or I guess for the entire Destiny community as a whole. And this is after, you know, Bungie swore up and down that there was no way in hell that there was perk weighting, basically making it so that more desirable perks that you would want for certain guns were rarer to drop than the other more mundane, less desirable perks. And they swore up and down that wasn't the case, but after the community collected so much data and presented it to Bungie and saying, like, hey, no, look, this is us farming for these weapons. This is the most desirable perk combination. And in the API for the game, these two perks are furthest from each other inside the perk pool in terms of, like, numbers from, like, 1 to 16 or whatever, because I think there's 8 perks in each column for most guns. And Bungie took a look at that data, and they found out for sure that, yes, that is a thing. Apparently, the perk weighting, there is some sort of weird, forgotten, buggy part of their code for their perks that certain, it's not always, but sometimes certain desirable perks that are really far away from each other in the perk columns on, like, something like Light GG, those perks are very hard to get for certain guns. And the second I heard that, I was like, it makes so much sense, because during Into the Light, when I was farming for, you know, those brave weapons, I could not, for the life of me, I could not get a roll of, you know, Luna's Howl with either Subsistence and Incandescent or Slide Shot and Magnificent Howl. It took me, I don't know how long I grinded for that specific roll for both of those guns, and I went through, like, hundreds of different Luna's Howls to get those rolls specifically, and it took literally forever for those two perk combination rolls to drop. And by the time it finally did, it was like, I was like, there's no way, because I kept getting, like, Enlightened Action and, like, Precision Instrument over and over again. I was like, why the hell does Luna's Howl always want to drop with one of these two perks? It's insane. And then when I went to go looking on Light GG, sure enough, those two perks are usually really close to each other when it comes to the perk combination rolls you can possibly get for the games. And I was like, ugh. So this whole time, when they were like, no, perk weighting's not a thing, perk weighting is just, everything's RNG, and then after the community presented them with so much data, like, this is not a coincidence anymore. This is a thing. You guys need to look at this. And even then Bungie was like, okay, you know what? It's probably a thing, so we'll look into it for you, and we'll come back with an explanation to why the code is the way that it is. Because, again, for me, it just took forever. And, again, I think it's based off how I saw a couple videos on it. I think the MTash or whatever his video that explained it the clearest, that like if you go to LightGG and go to the API, it shows you all the perk combinations a certain gun can get, and if you follow some of the data, it doesn't work for every single gun, but for most guns, sometimes the two most desirable trait combinations are the ones that are furthest from each other in like the order listing for the weapons, if that makes sense. Like if you want something at the very, like there's two perk columns, and there's, you know, perks 1 through 8 for both columns, and if you look at both perk columns and go up and down and look at like the most desirable traits for some of the guns, you'll realize that like some of the best perk combinations are usually really, really far away from each other, and that there's something in the code that allows those two perks to more or less drop more often than not than other perk combinations. It's been proven that this is a thing. Bungie is currently looking into it, and they're going to come back to us with an explanation once they figure out exactly what's causing it, why is it even like this, and for most people, the community is just mad, because who knows how much time has been spent on this game grinding away for loot that they were statistically never going to get, because no matter how hard they tried, certain perk combinations were just never going to drop, because the game's buggy code is built in a way where that loot was never going to be a thing that you could possibly get. And people kept grinding away, thinking that it was bad luck, and Bungie saying that there's no way for us to waste certain perk combinations. You just gotta keep trying. I promise there's no bad luck to this. And now it's been proven, like, hey, you know what? There's actually something wrong with the code. We actually might have lied to you about the bugginess and no perk weighting or whatever like that. And people are just frustrated that Bungie's code is so spaghettified that they can't even catch a simple, you know, perk combination weighing algorithm issue. And you think that they would have this data correlating that, hey, the most desirable perk combinations are the ones that are dropping the least, or they're the ones that characters own the least. Why is it that the god-awful perk combinations we put in here are the ones that seemingly are dropping all the time, but the other ones, the ones that people actually want, nobody seems to have? You'd think that Bungie would have some data table that shows them that information, but since all the Bungie layoffs have been happening lately, and they've been just going through so much stuff, it's possible that they've just been having bigger stuff on their plate, and they're just like, well, if the game functions, we don't really care about the perk weighting. And then it blows my mind that it's been going, I don't even know how long this has been going on for. I don't think Bungie is going to give us a detailed explanation as to what's been causing the issue and what's been causing it to happen for so long, because that, to them, that would be admitting that they've been negligent on the whole issue, and that, like, why didn't you catch this sooner sort of mentality. And I'm just like, I don't know why they never caught it sooner. They just didn't for some reason, and I would be shocked if they told us. They're probably just going to be like, hey, you know what, after extensive testing and code debugging, we finally figured out what it is. We're going to put this out immediately so you guys can enjoy the game right now. Because most people, like, when they heard that there was perk weighting, they're just like, you know what, I'm not going to play this game anymore until I know the perk weighting issue is fixed. Because I don't want to be grinding for stuff that I statistically have a very, very small chance to get. Like, not even, like, RNG statistic. Like, literally, the perk combinations are weighed in a way where, like, I am almost guaranteed to not ever see that gun, ever. So, I'm going to take a break from this game and come back when it's, you know, when the game is fixed and it's ready to be made. So that isn't a good look for Bungie for sure. I'm hoping that they get this under wraps, but again, like, the code that could be causing the RNG issue could be going back for years, literal years worth of time, and so much time has been lost grinding for those god rolls that were never going to happen, that it's burnt people out from the game initially, and that's probably hurt their player base in the long run too. It just, like, it's like a snowball effect where, like, gear in this game is so hard to get, and when the game is hard to grind for because the gear was never going to drop to begin with, and you learned that you walked away a while ago because you could never get that god roll, and now it's justified to be like, yeah, see, look, I was right to walk away. That gear was never going to drop for me to begin with. It just leaves a bad taste in people's mouths who left. Or I guess those people feel justified. But for the community who ended up staying, they probably feel like, oh my god, how could you miss something so obvious that people have been telling you for years? And it wasn't until, like, the community came to Bungie with, like, data sheets worth of information and be like, dude, this is statistically impossible. These weapons with these perk combinations should have dropped by now, and they are not. You need to take a look at your code. And then Bungie begrudgingly was like, fine, we'll run internal simulations and see what happens. We're telling you there's no way to weigh the perks. And when they did their internal testing, they tweeted to everybody saying, like, oh yeah, well, I guess there might have been something wrong with the API. Like, none of the perks are weighted, but the API is buggy. So we're going to take a look at it and come back to you with a fix soon. Sooner. They didn't say when. They're just looking into it. So I was just like, man, dude, Bungie just really knows how to... Bungie for sure knows how to just make their game that much harder to want to play when stuff like this happens. And this was just, like, not even the most annoying piece of news we got during this week, because shortly before the Weightgate thing blew up, Destiny Rising is the thing that blew up next. The mobile game that they announced that we weren't sure if it was still in the works or not. When I heard of a Destiny mobile game, I immediately assumed that the Destiny mobile game in question was going to be some sort of card game, kind of like Legends of Runeterra, where you'd have certain heroes and certain, characters in the game who could be turned into cards, and you can play like a, Hearthstone type of card game with, like, right? It would be really easy to make, real easy to manage. You don't have to do any crazy cutscenes or animations, unless you don't want to, because Legends of Runeterra is just like a card game where you just play as, certain archetypal characters and play as certain things that happen in the game, like certain events that happen in the lore of Destiny. Those could be cards, and those could be like what we call quote-unquote champion cards, where like those cards, like the whole deck is built around. But apparently Destiny Rising is like more of like a Diablo Immortal style game made by NetEase, weirdly enough, where it's actually just Destiny on mobile, and it's a completely different timeline. It's a completely different setting. It's taking place during the Dark Ages, before the term Guardian was used widely by everybody, and Warlords and Iron Lords are more of a thing. Based off the gameplay they showed us, it kind of made the community very mad. Partly because they showed us some really cool stuff in the trailers that were like, wait, we don't even have this in the main game yet. Like, the side game is getting, like, player homes and, like, player, like, base building and customization, and, like, look at all these cool weapons and armor. They're not even in the game right now. They're introducing new supers that were like, wait, what? We don't even have this yet. Why are they getting it? They're showing off crazy stuff, and it's just like, wow. Like, so this is where all the effort has been going to lately. It's been going to Destiny Rising, of all places, and it is made by NetEase. Yes, they're the ones putting in the majority of the backbone. They probably bought the license to make a Destiny game. I'm not ignorant of that. I have a background in game art and design, guys. That's what I went to school for, so I understand the whole process of making video games. But everything that Destiny Rising has, in the trailers at least, NetEase made, but it had to be made with Bungie's approval. So NetEase made like a showcase, and they have like some sort of like repertoire or some sort of like portfolio of all the stuff they were planning on putting into Destiny Rising to start with. Bungie would have had to have okayed that stuff and been like, okay, this is me, NetEase being like, hey, this is all the cool things we want to put into Destiny Rising. We want to add these new supers, we want to add these new weapons, we want to add these new weapon archetypes and these new weapon rarities, these armor sets. This is all the stuff that we're cooking up right now. Do you approve, and are you allowing us to put all this cool stuff in the game? And they looked at that and were like, yeah, for sure, go for it. That looks fine by us. And that's how that's been going ever since. So Bungie took a look at the trailer and was like, yeah, that's great. That looks awesome. And they okayed it. But then, like, when the community saw it, the first thing they saw was, hey, is this coming to PC? Can we play this mobile game on PC? No, it's apparently going to be only for mobile, unless you can, jailbreak your phone in order to play it on a big monitor, which I'm assuming people are going to try. And also, they're like, what about all this cool stuff that's in the game? Like, is any of this ever coming to PC or coming to the main game at all? And Bungie was kind of like, yeah, it's a separate universe. It's probably not going to show up. And everyone was just like, oh my god. Like the side game, the side project looks like it's been getting all the love and attention that we've been begging the main game get. And it's absolutely insane that that was the thing that came out. I was not expecting a mobile version of Destiny. I was expecting a card game of some sort, or like a real-time like strategy or base building. Like I thought it was going to be like some sort of like Dark Ages city management thing where you'd have to like send out like Guardian fire teams to try to help build up the last city into what it is during the modern day. Like those were like my two options. It never occurred to me that they were going to try to go with Destiny for mobile devices. I mean, I didn't think it could pull it off because of like the hardware limitations, but I guess that they can do it more or less. Yeah, I mean, the community is just really torn right now because they're like, I don't want to play this game because it does look super cool. The weapons, the gunplay, the super mechanics, like the power fantasy that Destiny provides you. People just don't seem like they're getting that in the normal game right now, and they're like, they want to jump ship. But it's made by NetEase, and NetEase did like Diablo Immortal. It's going to be a gacha game. I would be shocked if it wasn't a gacha game. A gacha game are one of those games where like you can play for free for so long, but then you're going to get to a certain point where like the characters you've earned throughout the game are just a little bit underleveled for certain activities. You'll struggle more and more, and then that's when you're incentivized to spend money to somehow get those higher tiered characters. There's going to be like multiple different rarities of like, let's say, the same character. I mean, it's hard for me to explain in layman's terms for people who don't know what those games are to start with, but imagine like Ace of Spades. One of the most popular handguns in the Destiny universe right now had multiple different rarity types, and every tier of Ace of Spades did more and more damage. It's already an exotic, but let's pretend you have 5 different tiers labeled 1 through 5, where the tier 1 exotic does a base amount of damage, but the tier 5 exotic does like 500% more damage, holds way more ammo. It just does crazier stuff than the tier 1 version. And the only way to beat those endgame activities in Destiny Rising is to either spend in-game currency, which you're probably not going to get a lot of during your playthrough, or spend real cash to buy packs in order to possibly earn that tier 5 version of Ace of Spades. That's why it's called a gacha game, because I got your money, and now you're in this endless loop of maybe gambling away your money to possibly get better stuff. And when I heard that, I was like, man, Bungie must be, like, they must be desperate for revenue, because, man, they must be hurting for cash. Because gacha game mechanics, maybe not so much in, you know, Western culture, but overseas in the Asian market, or like China and Japan and Korea, where this game is probably going to blow up there. This is going to make a lot of money for both NetEase and for Bungie, and I'm just like, man, dude, they were just bankrupted themselves for creativity, where they have to outsource their game, let a different company make cooler stuff than what even Bungie is capable of, and everyone's like, yo, like, this is, like, you guys are just advocating for like, this partnership with NetEase is, like, the biggest advocator as to why Bungie needs to be absorbed by Sony, because they clearly don't have any creative chops left amongst themselves. Because look what this third-party company is able to do with your game, and make it look even better than whatever's in the current game right now. It's crazy, because people are just like, wow, I didn't really think NetEase could cook like this, and they did. And yeah, I mean, the full-blown Destiny experience is great, but it doesn't cater to fans of Destiny as far as like bringing in new players. Destiny Rising is apparently going to cater to new players, because this is supposed to be a version of Destiny where if you know nothing about Destiny 1 or Destiny 2, Destiny Rising is what the game you should be playing, because that'll be your primer to go into the full-on Destiny 2 experience. But when people do that, they come into Destiny 2 from Destiny Rising, they're going to be like, hey, where's the cool extra exotic weapons? Where are all the supers and armor sets that I saw in that first game? That's not in this game. Where's the story that I learned about from Destiny Rising? That doesn't even take place in this universe. Like, there's gonna be a giant disconnect between the two. I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of crossover events. I freaking doubt it. Just because crossing over with that, Bungie, while they want Destiny Rising to be its own thing, they don't want to necessarily cross over with them, because they don't want to drag players away from this game to that game or from that game to this game. They want to have kind of like their own separate ecosystems. I would imagine just because they don't want to be constantly hearing from the communities, hey, bring over this, bring over that. They can justify being like, hey, no, we can't do that because that's NetEase's thing. We don't do that kind of stuff for the mainline Destiny game. If you want to experience that kind of stuff, got to go over to Destiny Rising for that, because it's going to create more work for Bungie in the long term to try to bring that stuff over, right? And they're probably worried, or they're probably focusing on other stuff for Destiny right now, like the Frontiers or whatever the hell that's going to be. And it's just like, when I saw all of that stuff that came with it, and I just saw all the cool things that that game was showing off, and I was just like, oh my god. It's like, wow, just their priorities are all over the damn place, and I can't think of a better reason on why Bungie needs to, you know, they need a firm hand, is what I'm saying. They need somebody to come in, tell them what to do, how to do it, and to stop messing around, because they've clearly, they just seem like creatively bankrupt at this point, because the third-party company is able to make cooler stuff in a smaller sort of platform, like mobile-based platform, and they're able to make it look as good, if not slightly better, than what the full game has to offer. And I'm just like, man, you guys need different leadership or different creative teams or something to at least not get shown up by your own side project. It's insane. Anyways, I mean, those are my thoughts on the two big controversies that's been happening right now during the Destiny stuff. I wish we were coming back for a better reason. I mean, Festival, I've been grinding off screen. I got Icebreaker, the full Catalyst, all that stuff is 100% done from the, God, what is it called? The Vesper Host mission, the dungeon. We've gone through the massive, giant Easter egg / puzzle quest to get the Icebreaker done, to get Icebreaker Catalyst done. We finally got it to drop from the dungeon itself, so we were lucky enough to actually get the Icebreaker. We did Master Mode too, so we have Master stuff done. We have a good bit of that content done for Vesper Host. I think I just need to unlock a couple more pieces of armor for the other two characters, my Warlock and my Titan. Wait for the Weightgate issue to be resolved so we can jump back into the dungeon in order to get those desirable weapons, and then I don't technically have a reason to play Vesper's Host anymore. Just because Vesper's Host is probably not a great dungeon to play. I played it on Master mode. It's definitely one of the hardest dungeons to farm for, what's it called, Artifice Armor. You definitely want to do either, Grasp of Avarice, or you want to do, like, Warlord's Ruin, because those two dungeons are far easier to farm for Master Tier gear. Anyways, guys, that's it. That's all I got for this video. If you guys have enjoyed the video, enjoyed my rambling, leave a like or leave a comment down below. Tell me how wrong I am about certain things when it comes to the whole Weightgate situation or the whole Destiny Rising situation. Do you agree with it? Do you not agree with it? Do I make really good points? Am I missing points? I'm sure I'm missing stuff, obviously, because I've been just cultivating and trying to collect as much data as I could just from multiple different YouTubers about the whole issue. I mean, some of the points they made I do share, and I kind of made that known in this video. Other points, as far as like them being optimistic and them thinking it's not going to be a loot grab, I do not believe that for a frickin' second. I think this is a total loot grab. It's going to be monetized to hell and bad. It's made by NetEase, guys. Come on, are you serious? Like, they're huffing copium at that point, thinking that this game is not going to be monetized to holy hell and back. It's made by NetEase. They made Diablo Immortal. The last time I heard anything about that game was about all the controversies around it. It's come on, be serious for a second. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you now, and I'll catch you guys all in the next Destiny episode.